And previous lectures already we discussed about an relation algebra. In relation algebra, nothing but a symbolically representation. We write a query. Query nothing but we write a question for that, and we expect a result from your database. From the table, we retrieve the record. That case is your using the relation algebra. Today we have to discuss about and what is actually SQL is working. What is in Oracle concept is how it's implemented. That is a data definition language, data manipulation language. So then a structured query language we have to discuss in today. In a history of Oracle, Oracle is most widely used database management system. Most of the companies, Oracle using as a SQL. SQL nothing but a structured query language. Now pronounced as a SQL language to data manipulations and operation on data. I'm explaining the history of Oracle. SQL is nothing stands for the structures English query language. Before they begin with working of SQL, they could not. They given a SQL language. SQL is a structured English query language, which developed by the IBM Corporation Limited, a codes model in 1979. When IBM company is working is mostly is used for the database management system, and many production of that company. The IBM is also the manufacturer in his own computer system. Server can designed by the IBM company. When IBM is start there, so that in 1979 is Oracle start from that is introduced the commercially available implementation of SQL. SQL is called as a standard RDBMS. RDBMS is nothing but a relation database management system. Already we discussed about relation nothing but we have to use a table. Table nothing but we can say that it is a relation. Oracle Corporation was started in two computer programs. Programmer that is Larry Ellison's and Bob Miners in 1977. When this is the two scientists there, they start your Oracle, and with help of the Larry and Bob, its prior experience building the database program and different companies their first project was building a special database program that is a CIA Central Intelligence Agency. When history of Oracle they begin these two person is there they invention the Oracle. Then after there is a many changes in that. When it's begin in 1977, they call as a SEL, that is Software Development Library, that is a version of V1. 1979 is a Relation Software Incorporation, that is a V2. In 1983 is Oracle Corporation, Oracle 3, they are developed by using C, which support simple queries but does not support the transaction. So in this case, there is a many inventions start from the table, how we can make there, then how query can write for that. So when it's using the transaction nothing but a real transaction, debited credit that today we have to use TCL language, transaction control language. So that concept is not in including in 1983. So then after that, they work for that in 1984. Support a transaction that is a commit and rollback. The overall transaction is happening in 1984. So it is a real-time support for that. 1984 that client server architectures only install the database in a server so that n number of client connect known as a client server architecture. Client server architecture nothing but we have to dumb system used for the client, and you enter the password as today we have been work with your server is having the password. Just with help of the client we can access that your server access. So there is a login password, Scott and Tiger is a password. For that, you have to use your Oracle. 1989, the Oracle is a PLSQL, that is programming language of SQL. Then Oracle 6 is there. The Oracle is basically when it's found in this developed for the with help of using the C programming. C programming language you have to use the if, else, while, do, while. This of the programming language are including in 1989. So that is the PL is called that programming language. So that trigger concept is there. Then store procedure, good concept is come inside the 1989. So with help store procedure, one time just you can write query, execute it. So trigger one time action is performed. If we want to delete one queries with a store procedure, we have to delete the 100 table is there. Within one query, all 100 table is deleted, thousands of record is deleted with help of the programming language that is called as the PLSQL, that is a programming language of structured query language. In 1992, Oracle 7 version is used for that support for DWH, that is OLAP, online analytical process. So when the invention start there, they having the many backup server is required. The people are online data to feeding, online data can be transferred. That case it support in OLAP. In 1992, 1997 Oracle start from the that is OR DMS. So Oracle relation database management system is 1997. 1990 is used for the 1999 Oracle. It's called as a 8I means the internet. I stand for the internet. It has to build a JVM, that is Java Virtual Machine. When the Java to be start, that Sun Microsoft company that having the intention that the people are using the virtual machine. Your the server is there, so that server is required, physical existing is required, but with help of the Java, there is a virtual machine is created, on the basis your query is executed. So that case is called as the 8I. In 1999 it start there, and then the another version in 2001. The version is nothing but every year there is having the upgraded program is using. Oracle 9i, the 400 new features, that is XML, that is called as extended markup language. What is the problem that when database nothing but you want to transfer your data is 1000 1 lakhs millions record is there, we want to transfer through the server. So that case, what is the issue? So bulk of information, a very band, I mean, big size of bandwidth is required. So that time it is a wastage of time, wastage of resources are wasting there. So that case 2001 they make a plan for that. They make a markup language. So with help of the same concept, including HTML, but in XML his own they see what we can say that as a HTML we have to write predefined tag is used as we want to need a head, so head tag is there, title tag is there, paragraph tag is there, table tag is there, but user defined tag is not available in your HTML. There is a what we can say that the XML is nothing but user defined tag is there, that is a user defined tag, his own tag is defined in XML. Through that your scripting with help of the tag your data can be transmitted. Very few seconds is required, very limited data is required, very limited bandwidth is required for transfer your data. So that is a very good invention in a 2001. And a real application cluster, bulk of data make is cluster, and all data can be clustering and sent to your server. So with help of the less resource required, less energy is required to transmit the data and receive your data, which provide high availability and performance with help of 2001. So there is a new feature is there, so with help of that your performance of your database very fastly doing there. And 2003 is Oracle start in thing called as the 10G. That is a grid concept is there. Grid technology is used in 2003. That is called as the 10G. Then 2006 Oracle 11G is there. We can add the column is value. There is another G is nothing but same as a grid. In 2014 Oracle is called as C. Launch is means the Oracle within cloud. The cloud concept nothing but is we have to, as the same as Amazon is a big company is there. They using the cloud computing concept. Cloud computing nothing but they provide as a survey a service. So that case, the cloud concept is there. So that is the C stand for the clouds. In a fifth 2018, the another launch is the first autonomous database, that is Oracle 18. So this is the way the invention start there, and there is having the very support for your database management system to be automatically. There is no human being is required to handle this automatically, take the backups automatically. You fire the queries, they given us some duration. All things are performed in a latest technology 2018, that is Oracle C. So when we can Oracle is there, so that time new concept is always come in market, and there is a lot of changes including in your database management system. So we have to study is how the query is writing there in SQL. So what thing is including in Oracle? Oracle DBMS a number of interface executing SQL queries, that is structure query language. The most basic interface known as Oracle SQL Star Plus interface use directly execute SQL commands, introduce the structure query language. Semicolon is needed end of the SQL query language. This end of the SQL statement when enter the keys phrase query is executed. The result is displayed immediately below a query run program. When we can run your query, so that case the slash is important and then you can enter the values. DBMS most provide the appropriate language and interface for each category of user express the database query, update database language, each create and maintain database computer. Large number of database languages Oracle, MySQL, MyAccess, DBase, FoxPro, and SQL statement commonly used in Oracle. MS Access can be categorized in DDL, that is a data definition language, data control language, so DCL is there, and data manipulation language, that is a DML. So these are the another transaction control languages there. TCL is also we can use for that for working of your database management system. When the database managed system is worked, that's first time the people are using the Excel sheets. Excel sheets, we can make a column on the basis of row wise record to be maintained there. So there is some limitation. Then come in the market is FoxPro. FoxPro is having the front end, back end. We have to maintain the record, create the table. We have to use front end with help of the FoxPro. The two way we have worked within FoxPro. Then the DBase is there. There is advanced concept is used in MS Access, and then SQL Start. In SQL Start in MySQL is used for the there is a structured query language. So we have to work with and how your Oracle is working, how the SQL is working. So in this case, DDL, data definition language. So in this case, there is a create table is when we can create the table. Create the table nothing but we have to make an empty structure. So that case we have to use a create object in database. If you want to alter your table, I have to take two columns of one table is there. I want to add one more column is there. So that case we have to use the alter commands, alter structure of the database, drop, delete the object from the database. If you want to delete the entire record with a structure, so that case use as a drop. Truncate, remove all the record from the table, including all space allocate for the records are removed. Comments, add the comments to data dictionary. The comment the same like in C programming C plus. Comments is on the understanding purpose for the user. It is not execute by your compiler or interpreter or your whatever the translator is used in programming language. Rename nothing but rename your objects. So we can use as a rename. So these are the DDL when we can use data definition language. So these are the all the keywords, and then they given us some syntax. On the basis of syntax, we can perform that, and that query is executed. Otherwise, having the make issue when could not use reserve words and keyword of as a key create. So that time your code is not executed properly. Another case is very important part, and what we can say the backbone of your Oracle concept. There is a concept is a data manipulation language. So all things entire in SQL concept is completely depend on the DML concepts. The rest of the thing is also important as the DDL and DCL and TCL is also important, but main working of your Oracle concept or database management system is a DML. The select retrieve data from the database we have to use as your select command. Then we have to insert there. So we want to insert my record is, so that case we have to use insert into data into table. I want to empty table site create that. I want to fill the record. So that case insert keyword use. Update is existing data within a table. If we want to change the name, if we want to make a changes in table record, you have to change in a record. Suppose I make mistake, a spelling mistake of name, so with help of update command we can make a correction. Delete all record from the table, space for the records in remain. Delete record nothing but entire record will be deleted. So record is deleted, so that case use DML. So DML nothing but your entire record will be deleted, so DML is used. So update, delete and merge. Up Up as SRT is operation insert and update, that is a merge. Merge is there is some limitation, we can use merge. Call, when programming language we can use as a call, that is a PL SQL Java subprogram. Explain plan, explain access path data. If we want to lock table, so that case is when we can concurrency nothing but the repeater of your record. So that case we have to control with an lock table. If we want to lock by table, so that case lock table is used. When we can use as a DDL and DML. So both the things are very important part or main core role of your related to both the languages, that is DDLs and DML. That is another concept is called as a DCL, data control language. If you want to give the permission from the users, as example, in some company is there and they having the project manager, team leader and program is there, or they make a plan for that, the how we give the permission to the users, what extent we have to see the information. That case we have to use as a DCL, data control language. Grant and revoke, if you want to give the privilege for to database, so I use the grant. If you want to take the permission privilege, so we have to use as a revoke. So the two concept is terminology important grant. So as example, we can see that some in bank system, the what we can see the clerk person in front of that in a bank, the clerical person debited credited, that thing is that people are doing there. If you want to change the any record of any customer record, they want to change that, so it could not be allowed for that. So take the permission from your manager. There is another people is technical, they take the permission and then give the access, so that is called as a grant. And if you want to take the permission, so it is called as a revoke. TCL, transaction control statement is used manage the changes made by the DML statement. It allows the statement to be grouped together logical transaction, that is a commit. If you want to save my all the records, so I use commit, save, identify the point transaction which you can later roll back. Restore all database original since the last commit. Set transaction, change the transaction option like isolation level and rollback statement segment to use. When this all language is important, means entire things we have to depend on this four language. These all are independent to each other. When we can create the table, DDL is required. If you want to change something, DML is used. Then if you want to give the permission for all the record can visualize, control is required. If you want to save and if you want to return, take the your data restore there, so that time you can use the TCL. So this is way one by one we can see that how the SQL is working. Next lecture actual coding I will show that how the coding we can do it in Oracle concepts.